Literally gotten golf balls stuck up my ass.
Golf balls?
Put one up there, I was like, oh, maybe if I put another one, it'll come out. Put another one up there, and I'm like, oh, they're not coming out.
There's no strings attached, by the way. For me, and to put cat toys in my asshole, it had like a little jingle.
Cat toys.
I'd shoot it out, and then she'd go and chase it and paw it, and then put it in her mouth, and then shove it back in my asshole.
Whatever happened to missionary sex? Are we not doing that anymore?
What began as a search for equality has evolved into a search for superiority. Even while contemporary feminist women claim to want equality, they only want it according to their rules, which involve dominating men. Women desire partial equality. True equality isn't what they seek. They desire to receive the same pay as a man does for a particular position, without putting in the same amount of effort. Women want a seat in the boardroom, but can't stay past 6 o'clock because they have a spa appointment. Women just display their anti-male awakened nature when they act in this way, since it demonstrates their want to simply ride the success wave without having to fight for it. They compare themselves with high-quality men who sacrifice their entire lives and live in incredibly competitive environments, just so they can get to those positions and make a good living for their families.
Split it?
Yeah, I'll pay half, you pay half.
Do we split the mortgage?
Well,
Do we split the car outside?
no.
Who pays the T-Mobile bill?
You do.
You have your cute little job, pay the cute little bill. This isn't fair.
You really want me to pay for all of
You
it?
want me to pay for everything and make investments for us and worry about our future? How about you take care of something?
Okay.
I think that's only fair.
The idea that modern feminine women can survive in society without any men in those countries is a dangerous story that they are actively spreading. This story presents a false picture of how young women can achieve that without ever having to work for it, which makes it hazardous. Will these women work in the sewage system? Will they work in the mining industry? Will they put themselves through the same dreadful conditions that men undergo to support their spouses and children? Or do contemporary women simply want to idolize and imitate CEOs? Why the discrepancy? Why only partial equality? I'm honest with you. Equality is not allowed here. The largest wave of MGTOW is taking place because generations of defenseless women have been used as pawns in gender politics to establish domination. The anti-male feminist women of today have incredibly high body counts, and they're proud of it. They're proud of the fact that they don't have any responsibilities towards their own bodies and their well-being. They constantly try to oppress and subjugate men and feel they've accomplished something when they do. They deliberately reject and ignore men so that they can get an ego massage of how they are superior to men. Feminism as it exists now encourages women to achieve dominance over males as well as equality. It is irrational for feminists to base their entire life and their feminist philosophy on the 1% of men who have harmed women in the past and use it to treat every male of the other 99% in the same way. This is the reason why contemporary women have such a high body count today. They've associated it with independence, freedom, and retaliation against the 1% of males who did mistreat women. This is why I feel that modern feminism has lied to women in general. Modern feminism has robbed women of their meaning and purpose, and given them a new purpose that is only making women more and more miserable. You only have to go and see the women around your society or online today to know what I mean. Women are miserable because of feminism. They think they're part of some positive movement that liberates them of their worries, when in fact, it only steals their value from them. I was recently reading a study that said, women who enter marriage as virgins are the least likely to divorce. Women with 10 or more partners are the most likely to divorce, but this only became true in recent years, the study said. This only goes to show that the more women sleep around, the more they're likely to lose any sense of loyalty and future stability when it comes to relationships. On top of that, no man truly wants to be with a woman who has a high body count. It's fundamental psychology. The more of anything you have, the less desire you eventually have for it. The more worth or allure it has for you, the less desire you will have for it, and that desire will only grow. That is how relationships are. I've watched several videos online of women sobbing because they've had so many relationships with guys that they're just unsure of what to do with their lives. This is something I've said before and will continue to say. Men were created to procreate, protect, and disperse their seed. Women were created to be givers of love and warmth and to raise children alongside their partners. Each has unique features and motives, women have only come to believe that they are inferior beings as a result of the awakened female narrative. If they are not performing all that a man is capable of, men don't typically cry about their inability to become parents. Men rarely express a desire to raise children, while women provide the resources, income, and security. The biggest wave of me going their own way is here to stay and growing in its strength. Why? It's basically because making men as feminine as possible is the newest goal of the womanist movement and represents the true character of women. They've grown so feminized that they fear being among women since they've changed into more male roles. By deliberately eliminating men's needs and desires to be masculine and engage in macho activities like athletics and combat sports like boxing or wrestling, these women hope to get revenge on men. However, these women forget that having guys around who won't approach women or even want to be with women for whatever reason is a double-edged sword and is destined to bite them in the back sooner or later, with all of this wrath against males and their history with women in the past. Because, as you know, more and more men will grow more feminine, and more women more and more masculine. The women will ultimately find that they have no males to be partners with. The males will come to see that society is deceiving them, just as they do now. Because you know what? If you look at history, men live according to what they're naturally supposed to be and supposed to do with life. It's the women who have had the problems. So, men are going to get back to being masculine, and women will find they're going against nature, but out of stubbornness, they'll keep living that way until they're alone and miserable at age 50. Additionally, as I've already stated, we must expose the destructive effects of feminism in the globe to the public and call it out for what it is. It began as an admirable movement for women's rights and social participation. But now that I think about it, it's more of a movement that encourages women to subjugate males and assume their positions in society, or rather, a movement that maintains an anti-male narrative. It completely ignores the true value of women as feminine beings who have the biological superpowers of being able to give birth to human beings, of being able to care for children and men, and nurture families. These are qualities men don't have. These are qualities that make women stand apart. However, the feminism of today perpetuates a rebellious faction of women who only want to live a life based on how low-quality men used to live their lives, sleeping around with women, and not embracing the responsibilities of being men. Modern feminism is teaching women to be second-class males instead of first-class women. Men and women have their roles, and that has not changed. The more aligned a man is with his masculinity, the more successful he will be. He's not going to be able to attain that if suddenly decides because of popular culture that he'd rather be a woman. Similarly, the more aligned a woman is with her feminine side, the more successful she is. For her, success isn't wealth creation. It's the happiness of her children. It's in the moments that she shares with her family. However, modern feminism has completely twisted this to make it sound like being traditionally feminine is a weakness. That masculinity is a weakness. And that women need to be more masculine and men need to be more feminine. They've completely twisted it around and women are miserable as a result. I support women's rights to vote, to work, to make money, and to seek careers. I wholeheartedly support women's right to lead independent lives. But I oppose a culture in which girls are made to believe that they should despise males, or that their life's work should be to shirk their femininity and cheerfully devote themselves to raising children. I have zero tolerance for women who believe they must engage in physical activity with guys in their 30s, or older to exact revenge on males, or the 1% of men whom they have heard have victimized them in the past. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support, so please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.